Have you ever seen those VPN ads on YouTube? You know the ones. They show hackers in hoodies lurking on public Wi-Fi, stealing your passwords at Starbucks. They promise total anonymity online. They say the government can't track you, hackers can't find you, and you're basically invisible on the internet. Everyone thinks VPNs are like invisibility cloaks for the internet. But here's what nobody tells you about what's actually happening when you turn on a VPN. Most of what you've been told about VPN protection is somewhere between misleading and completely false. And the stuff VPNs actually do protect you from, it's way more specific and limited than the ads make it sound. In the next 15 minutes, you're gonna understand exactly what VPNs really do, what they absolutely don't do, and why the entire VPN industry has spent billions convincing you that you need something you probably don't. Here's what's really happening when you use the internet without a VPN. You're sitting at a coffee shop in Seattle, you connect to the Wi-Fi and pull up your email. That connection between your laptop and the coffee shop's router, it's potentially visible to anyone else on that network. They could theoretically see what websites you're visiting. They could intercept unencrypted data. This is the scenario VPN companies love to show in their ads. The scary hacker at the next table stealing your credit card numbers. But think about it this way. When was the last time you actually visited a website without HTTPS? That little lock icon in your browser? That's encryption. That means even if someone intercepts your connection, they can't read what you're sending. Your bank? Encrypted. Gmail? Encrypted. Amazon? Encrypted. Facebook? Netflix? Basically every major website you use? All encrypted. The coffee shop hacker scenario that VPN ads love to push, it was a real concern in 2008. But in 2025, it's basically solved by HTTPS. You're already protected from that specific threat. And this matters because VPN companies have built billion-dollar businesses by making you terrified of threats that largely don't exist anymore. Or by promising protection from threats that VPNs can't actually defend against. It's not just misleading marketing. It's creating a false sense of security that can actually make you less safe. Because when you think you're protected by a VPN, you might take risks you otherwise wouldn't. You might ignore actual security practices that matter. And that's exactly what happens to millions of people who buy VPNs thinking they're now invisible online. Everyone tells you that VPNs make you anonymous on the internet, but that's not what actually happens. What really happens is way more complicated. A VPN does exactly one thing well. It creates an encrypted tunnel between your device and the VPN company's server. That's it. Everything you send goes through that tunnel to their server and then out to the internet. So instead of your internet provider seeing which websites you visit, the VPN company sees which websites you visit. You haven't eliminated surveillance, you've just shifted who's doing the surveilling. Your internet provider can't see your browsing anymore. True, but Google still knows everything you search. Facebook still tracks you across the web. Amazon still has your purchase history. Netflix still knows what you watch. Every website you log into still knows exactly who you are. Because here's the thing that might shock you. When you log into Gmail through a VPN, you're not anonymous. You literally just told Google who you are by logging in. The VPN doesn't make you invisible. It just changes the route your data takes to get there. Let me show you something. There's this pattern I call the tunnel illusion. It's when people think that because their data is going through an encrypted tunnel, they're somehow invisible on the internet. But a tunnel doesn't make you disappear, it just changes your path. Think about it like taking a different highway to work. Sure, the cameras on Highway 1 don't see you anymore because you're on Highway 9, but the cameras at your office still see you arrive. Your boss still knows you showed up. Your coworkers still recognize you. The different route didn't make you invisible, it just changed which roads saw you traveling. This matters because the entire VPN industry relies on this confusion. They show you encryption. They talk about tunnels and protocols. They use technical language that makes it sound sophisticated and protective. And then they casually imply that this means you're anonymous online, but those are two completely different things. Encryption protects your data in transit. Anonymity means hiding your identity. A VPN gives you the former, but barely helps with the latter. And that's exactly what most people don't understand. Think about Lisa. She's a 2-year-old marketing manager in Austin. She watches YouTube videos about privacy. She's concerned about her data. She sees NordVPN ads during every video she watches. The ads promise that she'll be invisible online and completely anonymous. So Lisa buys a subscription. She turns on her VPN every time she opens her laptop. She feels safer, protected, anonymous. But here's what Lisa doesn't realize. She's still logging into her Google account to check email. She's still scrolling through Instagram on her phone. She's still shopping on Amazon using her account with her address and credit card. She's still watching Netflix, which requires login. Every single one of these services knows exactly who Lisa is, VPN or not. The VPN is encrypting the connection between her laptop and the VPN server. But the moment she logs into anything, she's told that service precisely who she is. Lisa has paid $60 a year to feel safe while changing basically nothing about her actual privacy. Your brain does this because it's designed to respond to simple solutions for complex problems. Back when we faced physical dangers, protection was straightforward. Build a wall, predators can't get in. Hide in a cave, enemies can't see you. But in today's digital world, privacy is complex and multifaceted. There's no simple wall that keeps everything out. But when someone sells you a product that promises simple protection, your brain latches onto it. It feels like that cave, that wall, that straightforward solution. But digital privacy doesn't work that way. But here's where it gets interesting. VPNs do actually protect you from some specific things, just not the things their ads emphasize. Your internet service provider, Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, they can see every website you visit without a VPN. They can see when you visit it, how long you stay. They can build a profile of your browsing habits, and they can legally sell that data to advertisers. A VPN prevents this. Your ISP just sees encrypted traffic going to the VPN server. They don't know if you're browsing Reddit, or researching medical conditions, or watching YouTube. That's genuinely useful. VPNs also help bypass geographic restrictions. Netflix has different content in different countries. YouTube videos get blocked in certain regions. News sites restrict access based on location. When you connect to a VPN server in another country, websites think you're browsing from there. So a VPN server in the UK makes it look like you're in London. This isn't about privacy or security, it's just geographic spoofing. But it works, and for many people, this is actually the most practical use of a VPN. And here's what makes this even more surprising. The absolute best use case for VPNs is one almost nobody talks about. If you're in a country with serious internet censorship, China, Iran, Turkey, a VPN can be literally essential for accessing the open internet. When the government blocks Facebook or Twitter or independent news sites, a VPN can get around those blocks. This is actually life-changing technology for people in oppressive regimes. But that's not the market VPN companies advertise to. They advertise to Americans who think they need protection from coffee shop hackers that don't exist. Now, this next pattern is particularly sneaky because it involves your VPN provider itself. There's this thing I call the trust transfer problem. When you use a VPN, you're not eliminating the need to trust someone with your data. You're just transferring that trust from your ISP to your VPN company. And here's the uncomfortable question. Why should you trust a VPN company more than your ISP? Your ISP is a regulated telecommunications company. They're subject to laws about data retention and privacy. They have customer service. They have a physical address. They're accountable to regulatory bodies. Your VPN company? They might be based in Panama or the British Virgin Islands. Specifically to avoid regulation, they might have no accountability whatsoever. They promise they don't log your activity, but you have no way to verify that. And some VPN companies have been caught lying about their no-logs policies. This matters because you're essentially putting all your internet traffic in the hands of a company you know nothing about. Some VPN services are legitimate. Some are owned by data analytics companies who are collecting the very data they promise to protect. Some are owned by Chinese companies that are legally required to hand over data to the Chinese government. That VPN that promises to protect you from surveillance might literally be a surveillance tool. You have no way to know. Wild, right? Here's what's actually happening at a deeper level. The entire VPN industry has successfully convinced millions of people that they face threats they don't actually face, while ignoring the real privacy issues that VPNs can't solve. This isn't about the technology being bad. VPNs work exactly as designed, but the gap between what VPNs actually do and what people think they do is enormous, and that gap is extremely profitable. What's actually happening is that most privacy threats don't come from your internet connection being intercepted, they come from the services you willingly give your data to. Facebook doesn't need to hack your Wi-Fi to track you. You gave them permission when you agreed to their terms of service. Google doesn't need to intercept your traffic. You're logged into Chrome and searching on their platform. Amazon doesn't need to spy on your connection. You're buying stuff directly on their website using your account. The real privacy invasions happen at the application layer, not the network layer. A VPN protects the network layer. It encrypts the pipe your data flows through. But it does nothing about what you're putting into that pipe or who you're sending it to. It's like putting your mail in an armored truck for delivery. The truck protects the mail during transport, but if you're mailing your social security number to a scammer, the armored truck doesn't help. The vulnerability isn't the truck, it's who you're sending mail to. And it's the reason why VPN ads never talk about the actual privacy threats you face. They can't, because VPNs don't solve those problems. VPNs don't stop Facebook from tracking you. They don't prevent Google from building a profile. They don't keep Amazon from knowing your purchase history. They don't stop cookies. They don't block trackers. They don't make you anonymous to the websites you visit. They just reroute your traffic through a different company's servers. Let me tell you about Marcus. Marcus is also 32, also concerned about privacy, also sees the same VPN ads. But Marcus understood something Lisa didn't. He realized that VPNs solve a very specific and limited problem. So Marcus asked himself what he's actually trying to protect himself from. He doesn't use public Wi-Fi for anything sensitive anyway. He's not trying to bypass censorship. He's not in a country with surveillance. He's not torrenting movies. What Marcus actually cares about is behavioral tracking by tech companies. So instead of buying a VPN, Marcus uses Firefox with tracking protection. He installs uBlock Origin to block trackers and ads. He uses DuckDuckGo for searches that don't get logged and profiled. He reviews app permissions on his phone. He turns off ad personalization in his Google settings. He uses separate email addresses for different purposes. These steps actually address the privacy threats Marcus faces in daily life. Notice how Marcus isn't spending $60 a year on a VPN subscription. He's not feeling false security from a product that doesn't solve his actual problems. He identified his real threat model and addressed it directly. He still uses public Wi-Fi. He's not any less safe than Lisa with her VPN. In fact, Marcus is probably more private because he's addressing the actual ways his privacy gets violated, not the theoretical coffee shop hacker that VPN ads invented. And here's what happened. Marcus doesn't see creepy personalized ads following him around. His browsing history isn't being sold to data brokers. He's not handing all his traffic to a mysterious VPN company in Panama. He's actually addressed real privacy issues using free tools that target the actual threat. Meanwhile, Lisa's paying for a VPN, still logged into Facebook and Google, still being tracked and profiled exactly as before, but feeling protected because she saw the little VPN icon in her taskbar. So what's really going on here? It's not actually about VPNs being useless. It's about understanding what problem you're solving. The people who benefit from VPNs understand their specific use case. They're bypassing geographic restrictions, they're hiding their browsing from their ISP specifically, they're in countries with censorship, they're torrenting and want to hide their IP from copyright trolls. These are real uses where VPNs provide real value. The people who waste money on VPNs don't have a clear threat model. They've been convinced by marketing that online security requires a VPN. They think they're protecting themselves from hackers, surveillance, tracking, and anonymity all at once. But VPNs don't provide most of that protection. And once you see it this way, everything changes. The question isn't, should I buy a VPN? The question is, what am I actually trying to protect myself from? And what tools address that specific threat? These patterns aren't about being smart or tech savvy. They're about understanding that security and privacy are specific problems requiring specific solutions. A VPN is a tool with specific uses. Marketing has tried to make it a one-size-fits-all privacy solution. But privacy doesn't work that way. When you understand what VPNs actually do encrypt your connection to a server, you have to trust you can make informed decisions about whether that's valuable for your situation. So here's what we've uncovered. VPNs encrypt your connection between your device and their server, hiding your traffic from your ISP. They don't make you anonymous to websites you log into. They don't stop tracking by tech companies. They can help bypass geographic restrictions and censorship. They transfer trust from your ISP to your VPN provider, who might be more or less trustworthy. And the entire industry has built its marketing on making you afraid of threats that either don't exist or that VPNs don't protect against. The question isn't whether VPNs work. They do what they're designed to do. The question is whether you need what they do. Because now you know the difference between network layer protection and application layer privacy. You know that encryption in transit doesn't equal anonymity. You know that logging into services identifies you regardless of your VPN. You can't unknow it. So next time you see a VPN ad promising total anonymity and protection from hackers, ask yourself what specific threat you're actually facing. Are you hiding your browsing from your ISP, bypassing geographic blocks, accessing censored content, or are you just worried about the vague concept of online privacy and hoping a VPN solves it? Because once you see that privacy is about choosing which companies get your data, not eliminating surveillance entirely, that VPN subscription starts looking a lot less essential than the ads made it seem.